Erin, I did have Susan happen to sneak in a question to me. It kind of came under the email.
Oh, she must have not known how to spell my name.
Exactly. And she says, Susan says, Erin, ask Erin if you would. Right. What are the criteria you use to recommend a plan to supplement Medicare coverage? What do you use?
My criteria?
Yeah, when you're helping folks choose that plan.
So the first thing that I want to do is look at your current list of physicians who you're seeing, who you'd like to be able to have access to see, because the Medicare Advantage plans work off of a network. So I want to check those networks to make sure that you have access. And then secondarily, I want to take a look at your maintenance prescriptions to see what you're taking. Different plans cover prescriptions differently. So we want to find, one, a plan where all of your physicians fit, and secondly, where do your prescriptions fit the best.
Now, Erin, that's kind of in the Medicare Advantage portal or
Correct.
loop. But then there's also the other side, right?
Yes, which would be the supplemental side. We don't have to worry about a network of physicians because supplemental policies don't use networks. You have access to every physician that accepts Medicare, so you don't have to worry about that. But then we still want to look at your prescriptions because we'll couple a supplemental policy with a prescription drug plan that suits your needs the best.
So I was going to say, from a mechanical point of view here, once you receive the information on who folks' physicians are, you check the networks.
We check the networks.
And that's easy to do. But also, what do you do specifically with a prescription?
We run them through a computer program that will allow me to see which policies cover your prescriptions, what the monthly cost of those prescriptions will be, and what the premium is associated with those policies.
And what's cool then is that you're really able to come down to a true cost, not just from a premium point of view,
but from
also
an out-of-pocket expense point of view.
And that's so important, isn't it?
Yes, because you really be able to. One of the number one concerns for individuals going into retirement is the cost of health insurance, and what we're able to do is pinpoint really almost to the dollar every month what you are going to pay when you walk into CVS, Walgreens, Walmart to fill your prescriptions. So you're able to add that back into your monthly expense, and that can make that gives you a lot more confidence in knowing what you're going to be spending every month, and it takes that question mark out of how much do I have to budget for health insurance, because we see many people coming in looking to retire and they've already put together what they feel their expenses will be, and they're targeting their monthly expense at over $1,000 a month for health insurance. And if you're on Medicare, that's
heaven.
That is, you've built in a lot of padding into that number, which can make you feel really comfortable knowing you're going to spend half, maybe less than that, in many cases. So that's the first piece of it. But then the second set of criteria that I use when we're determining what is the best way to supplement your Medicare coverage is when we actually sit down and talk and discuss your usage on a monthly and annual basis with health insurance, because we've had this conversation several times, which is it's not the difference many people think if you're healthy you want to choose a Medicare Advantage plan because those plans you only pay as you go, versus a supplement where you pay everything, your premium up front. So if you're not well, you want to pay your premium up front and offload all of that risk. But the reality is there are many people that are not what you would consider well, but aren't using health insurance, because as you get older and you have more chronic issues, that doesn't necessarily mean more trips to the doctor. That just means things aren't what they were when you were 40. So
let's give me a numerical example here if we can, because I think that's kind of important.
All right.
So let's just say that someone is they're 65, they're in Missouri, because we know Illinois is cheaper, which is cool.
Very cool.
Okay, so and let's just say that they're looking at a traditional supplement plan.
Okay.
Let's assume Plan F, just because that's the one that everyone says is the most F for fun.
Yes.
Right? This is the one where you pay a premium and you don't pay anything when you see the doctor.
Exactly. So you pay a monthly premium, no copays to the doctor, no coinsurance if you're admitted to the hospital. You never receive a bill except if you're filling prescriptions.
And then you have to add, though, a premium for the Part D, which is the prescription coverage, because as we know, Medicare doesn't fully cover prescriptions.
Exactly.
So between the two of those on average might run.
So between the two, I would say we're looking at about $200 a month.
Okay. So $200 a month, $2,400 per year.
Right.
That's basically your maximum out-of-pocket, i.e. your premium.
Yes.
Obviously, you have drug copays and the donut hole and all that kind of stuff to deal with on the drug side. But let's compare that and contrast that with Medicare Advantage.
Okay. So individual A65 in Missouri bought the supplemental policy. They're going to pay $2,400 a year in premium. No out-of-pocket expenses except for prescriptions. If we take a look at the Medicare Advantage side of things, Medicare Advantage will offer you a policy that has no premium on the front end, so that means you pay nothing every month.
Oh, yeah.
Because instead of paying premium, you pay out-of-pocket expenses.
As you go.
Exactly. As you go. So when you visit the primary, between $5 and $10, depending upon which plan you choose. If you see specialists, it's between $39 and $45, depending upon which policy you choose. And then you have a maximum out of pocket, and what that means is that's the most you can spend in 1 year. You have a zero deductible policy, so that means from day one, let's say you enrolled in this policy for January 1st, and you needed outpatient surgery. There's a $250 copay for outpatient surgery.
But that goes to your out-of-pocket.
It goes to your out-of-pocket. That happens day 1 or day 364. You have the same coverage throughout the year. When you hit your maximum out-of-pocket, which is around $3,000, depending upon which plan, you are done paying for the rest of the year, except for when you fill prescriptions.
So it's the same thing on the outside on prescriptions, right?
Exactly, because when the Bush administration in 2006 added prescription drug coverage, they didn't integrate it into Medicare. They added it on top. So it truly sits outside of the rest of your medical coverage, unlike what you have now, where you're bundled your prescription and medical together, either with an individual policy or with group health insurance. So if we compare the Medicare Advantage plan, which has a maximum of about $3,000 out of pocket, versus paying a monthly premium, which annualizes to about $2,400 a year, in the first year, you can see that there's about a $600 liability, right?
Right.
Worst case
which you may not have.
Exactly. Worst case scenario, you hit your maximum out of pocket. You would have done better under the supplemental plan because it was only a $2,400 liability versus the $3,000 that you paid. However, not every year are you going to have the worst year. And
also the premiums go up every year in the supplements.
Supplemental plans, their premiums increase about 1 to 5% a year generally. Medicare Advantage, the policies have remained relatively stable. In fact, we've seen the benefits improving over the last several years, as opposed to increasing for the member. So, if we look at your health over the next 30 years, not every year is the worst, not every year is the best. But as long as you're not spending even that initial $2,400 that when you aged into Medicare you would have spent, you're going to come out ahead. So if you see the primary 2 times and a couple of specialists, you're going to spend under $100 for the year. That's less than 1 month's premium. If we do that more than 1 year in a row, you're going to have more than enough money essentially set aside or saved because you didn't pay it out to the insurance company to help out when you do hit that maximum out of pocket in the worst case scenario. So it really depends upon your usage. If you're going to spend $3,000 every year because you have you have rehab all the time, or you have chronic conditions that require constant care, or you are undergoing treatment, then maybe it does make sense to look at a supplement to start.
Or if your docs aren't in the book.
Or if your physicians are not participating in the networks. However, on the network side with Medicare, we find the networks are incredibly large because they're legally required to be. These policies cannot create narrow networks of what you find on the individual health insurance side. So you're not going to have an issue with only being able to go to one hospital. Also, you have the opportunity, maybe your prescriptions don't fit well into one of these Medicare Advantage plan prescriptions.
Right.
Plans.
We've seen that with some clients before.
Exactly, and since we know that's a fixed cost, if we can keep it as low as possible, it makes sense to potentially look at a supplement and pair it with a prescription drug plan that fits the best. So those are the 2 main reasons why we would lean towards a supplement over a Medicare Advantage plan. But in a lot of cases, especially for individuals aging into Medicare now, Medicare Advantage is what you're used to. It's like a managed care policy. You have physicians that you see. You know they're in the network. You know what you pay when you're going to go visit them. what you pay when you have procedures and things like that done, and you know what the maximum is for you to pay on an annual basis. So this is what you're comfortable with, but we can make it even better because we can cut your premium out.
That's right, and we know that every client that comes in or potential client comes in, it's a clean slate.
That's right, especially during open enrollment between October 15th and December 7th. This truly applies to Medicare Advantage plans and prescription drug plans. So if you have a Medicare Advantage plan and you want to see if there are better options out there, you can do that. If you have a supplemental policy and you want to find out what Medicare Advantage is like, you can do that because you have guarantee issue into these policies during open enrollment for a January 1st effective date.
That's very cool. I think what we're going to do is let everybody know that I'm surprised those aren't going up like crazy